Welcome back to chapter number 4, where we want to talk about skinning. Skinning is the method to say, Motion Studio, how much influence a bone has over the over every single vertex from an object, from a mesh. To show this, let's do the same example as before. We need a cube, and we create a new skeleton in the cube, and with a second bone here. Really simple. And now we attach the cube to both of these bones. And as we said before in chapter number 3, we cannot attach directly the cube to these bones. So we can glue the cube onto this bone. I call it glue. And then skinning the cube, the vertices of the cube, and say how many influence one bone or every bone has about these vertices. So the easiest way to do that is we select both of these bones. To do that, just select one, then hold the shift key, select the other one, and both bones are selected like in Windows. With the right mouse button, right, not left, I drag and drop the cube onto these bones. And now we see the cube is under the hierarchy of the bones, and we also have this little icon here. And this little icon means the cube is prepared for skinning. And you could also do that by hand. You can disable the skinning here or re-enable the skinning here. So how can we skinning? Under the skinning tab here in Motion Studio, you found a few buttons. If you attach an object or a mesh to a bone or to more than one bone, Motion Studio automatically skin that object. You can see that if you press the show button here, then a cage around the cube, around the bone, appears here, and you can see the influence from the automatic skinning. You can readjust this cage here with these sliders. You can arrange the ramp, the Y, the Z, and so on. Most of the time I don't use this method because the cage here says not so much about the influence. I prefer another method, and this is directly edit the vertices in the Vertex Painter. Motion Studio has a built-in Vertex Painter, and you can do that if you press here the edit button, or you go onto the bone and choose edit skin. It's the same, and a new window appears, and this is the Vertex Painter. And here you can say how many influence has the bone over the vertices. So this window here can be resized, and to navigate in the view you can press and hold the right mouse button, and you can move the objects around. With this scrolling wheel from your mouse you can zoom in and zoom out. You can also do that by left clicking here on zoom and dragging left and right to zoom in and out. With the left mouse key, drag to the left, to the right. You can also rotate on in the Z axis and also on the Y axis. If you're out of the view and you want to say, how can I come back? Click on Reset View and you're back on the default, or you can just center the bone or center the skin. That means the complete edit mesh. If you have complex mesh here inside, sometimes the vertices are too big, and you can adjust the dot size here with this slider. Pretty cool. And you can also say I don't want to see the edges, I don't want to see just only the vertices. No problem, you can switch here the edges on and off, and you can also say I don't want to see the bone. If I edit here, near and far is the edges and the vertices that are near to you in this view are white, far away edges and vertices are more gray. But you can also say, if I increase here the far, that you see just what's near to you. Okay. Then the the vertex painter himself is this here underbrush. With size, you can say how big is your brush. And the default size is 10, but you can also say I need a big brush. You can adjust this here with the slider, and the most important thing is to paint the influence. The influence from the bone over the single vertices can be from 0 to 100%. 100% means the bone has complete control over all vertices. You can also say I just need 50%, and you can see Motion Studio shows this influence with a fading color from yellow to red or orange here. With the paint enabled, you can draw this whiteness. With erase, you can erase the vertices or the influence. The blur button uses the painted vertices here and blurs the amount of influence out in the direction where we draw. Okay? You have to, or you can just try and figure out what's happened here with all the other buttons. So, a pretty cool thing is, but for that we need a new scene. So let's create one. I need a cube and give him this time a bit more detail here. Let's say 7 by 7 is enough. I'll make it a bit higher. Go to the front view, create a new skeleton, and let's drag that up a bit. And just want one more. And now we, as we've seen before, drag with the right mouse button the cube onto the selected bones, and we have glued the cube onto the bones, and now we can edit these. So the cool thing is we can go to the animate page and can move the joints in a position. And now if I sometimes it doesn't refresh here. In this case, use the right mouse button, moves a bit around, and then it refreshes. So we can now choose the right bone, in this case the upper one, drag it a bit around, and I can now paint here my vertices, and I see immediately the result of that what I'm doing here. So I blur this out downwards, and now I can see directly how this works. Now we can see the influence from this bone over the object if we paint it like in this way. I choose the other bone now and start painting here from this side and blur it out. And we now see the result. Let's drag this around here a bit. Let's paint that again. Blur this out a bit more. And okay, that should be enough. And that's it. That's the way how we skin and weight paint a character mesh and gluing that to the bones. Okay, and now we can go back to this setup page to get the default position, and let's try this how it works, and we see it works very well. Okay, one last word. Weight painting needs a lot of time sometimes, but animation himself needs a lot of time, so don't be frustrated if you sit down and weight painting just a complete day on a complex character. This is not so many times as you think. Sometimes I need 2 or more days to get complete control over the character with weight painting, so that I have a good rig that controls the character as I want. Okay, that should be enough for skinning, and in the next chapter we want to talk about a few tricks about what's happening here with nailing and parenting. So see you in the next chapter.